We're not ashamed of having money, but I just don't believe a big showy lifestyle is appropriate for anywhere. Least of all here in Bentonville, where folks work hard for their money, and where we all know that everyone puts on their trousers one leg at a time. I'm not sure I ever really figured out this celebrity business. Why in the world, for example, would I get an invitation to Elizabeth Taylor's wedding out in Hollywood? I still can't believe it was news that I get my hair cut at the barber shop. Where else would I get it cut? Why do I drive a pickup truck? What am I supposed to haul my dogs around in a Rolls Royce? Nowadays, I'm willing to concede that some good may have come from that magazine article and all the hubbub it created. As much as I hated it for years at first, I thought it was going to be bad for my relationship with the associates in these stores, but I found out that, gosh, they almost looked at it like, look, we helped him get there, good for him. I think my coming by to visit these stores somehow means more to them now. I noticed a big difference in their reaction since that list made me into sort of a public figure, and of course our customers seem to get a kick out of it too, asking me to autograph dollar bills and other stuff. I've known Sam since his first store in Newport, Arkansas, and I believe that money is in some respects almost immaterial to him. What motivates the man is the desire to absolutely be on top of the heap. It is not money. Money drives him crazy. Now his question to me at 6 a.m. not long ago was, how do you inspire a grandchild to go to work if they know they'll never have a poor day in their life? Does Sam have money? I've been traveling with him for 30 years and you could never tell it by me. In fact, if I didn't read the proxy statement every year, I'd swear he was broke. I remember one time we were flying out of New York on a commercial flight, going to see our friends at the Limited in Columbus, Ohio, and all of a sudden at the airport, Sam sort of looks startled and says, David, I don't have any money with me, do you? I reached in my wallet and pulled out two. In fact, if I didn't read the proxy statement every year, I swear he was broke. I remember one time we were flying out of New York on a commercial flight going to see our friends at the Limited in Columbus, Ohio, and all of a sudden at the airport, Sam sort of looks startled and says, David, I don't have any money with me, do you? I reached in my wallet and pulled out 220s. He looked at them and said, you won't need both of those, let me borrow one. Now, when it comes to Walmart, there's no two ways about it. I'm cheap. I think it's a real statement that Walmart never bought a jet until after we were approaching $40 billion in sales and expanded as far away as California and Maine, and even then they had to practically tie me up and hold me down to do it on the road. We sleep to a room, although as I've gotten older I have finally started staying in my own room. We stay in Holiday Inns in Ramada, Inns in Basins, and we eat a lot at family restaurants when we have time to eat. A lot of what goes on these days with high-flying companies and these overpaid CEOs who are really just looting from the top and aren't watching out for anybody but themselves really upsets me. It's one of the main things wrong with American business today. In those days we would go on these buying trips with Sam, and we'd all stay as much as we could in one room or two. I remember one time in those days we would go on these buying trips with Sam, and we'd all stay as much as we could in one room or two. I remember one time in Chicago when we stayed 8 of us to a room, and the room wasn't very big to begin with. You might say we were on a pretty restricted budget, but sometimes I'm asked why today when Walmart has been so successful when we're a $50 billion company. Should we stay so cheap? That's simple, because we believe in the value of the dollar. We exist to provide value to our customers, which means that in addition to quality and service, we have to save money. Every time Walmart spends $1 foolishly, it comes right out of our customers' pockets. Every time we save them $1, that puts us one more step ahead of the competition, which is where we always plan to be, starting on a dime. From the time we were kids, Sam could excel at anything he set his mind to. I guess it's just the way he was born. Back when he carried newspapers, they had a contest. I've forgotten what the prizes were. Maybe $10, who knows? He won that contest, going out selling new subscriptions door to door, and he knew he was going to win. It's just the makeup of the man. My only explanation is that Sam has a lot of our mother's characteristics. I don't know what causes a person to be. I don't know what causes a person to be ambitious, but it is a fact that I have been overblessed with drive and ambition from the time I hit the ground, and I expect my brothers probably right. Our mother was extremely ambitious for her kids. She read a lot and loved education, although she didn't have to do much herself. She went to college for a year before she quit to get married, and maybe to compensate for that, she just ordained from the beginning that I would go to college and make something of myself. One of the great sadnesses in my life is that she got young of cancer just as we were beginning to do well in business. Mother must have been a pretty special motivator, because I took her seriously when she told me I should always try to be the best at it, do. So I have always pursued everything I was interested in with a true passion. Some would say obsession to win. I've always held the bar pretty high for myself. I set extremely high personal goals. Even when I was a little kid in Marshall, Missouri, I remember being ambitious. I was a class officer several years. I played football and baseball and basketball with the other kids, and I swam in the summers. I was so competitive that when I started Boy Scouts in Marshall, I made a bet with the other guys about which one of us would be the first to reach the rank of Eagle. Before I made Eagle in Marshall, we had moved to the little town of Shelby, Missouri. Population maybe 1,500, but I won the bet. I got my Eagle. At age 13, the youngest Eagle Scout in the history of the state of Missouri at that time. Because of his training in Boy Scout work, Sammy Walton, 14-year-old son of Mr. and Mrs. Tom Walton of Shelby, rescued Donald Peterson, little son of Prophet Mrs. K.R. Peterson, from drowning in Salt River Thursday afternoon. Donald got into the water to defloor and then called for help. Lloyd Jones, who had accompanied the boys, made an effort to get him out, but Donald struggles pulled Mr. Jones down several times. Young Walton, who was some distance away, got to the pad just as Donald went down a fifth time. He grasped him from behind, as he had been taught to, pulled him to shore and applied artificial respiration that scouts must become proficient in. Donald was unconscious and his whole body had turned blue. It took quite a while to bring him around. They said I saved his life. Maybe yes, maybe no. Newspapers tend to exaggerate these things, but at least I got him out of the looking back on such boyhood episodes helps me to realize now that I've always had a strong bias toward action, a trait that has been a big part of the Walmart story. Truthfully, though, talking about this embarrasses me a good bit because I worry that it seems like I'm bragging or trying to make myself out to be some big hero. It particularly bothers me because I learned a long time ago that exercising your ego in public is definitely not the way to build an effective organization. One person seeking glory doesn't accomplish much at Walmart. Everything we've done has been the result of people pulling together to meet one common goal. Teamwork, something I also picked up at an early age. Team play began for me when I was in the 5th grade, and a friend of mine's dad organized a bunch of us into a Pee-wee football team. We competed against other towns like Odessa and Sedalia and Richmond. I played in, but I wanted to throw the ball or be a running back, even though I was a little guy and could not squeeze my way in. Yet team athletics remained a big part of my life all through high school and at the intramural level in college too. By the time we moved to Shelby, I had more football experience than most of the other kids in the 9th grade, so I was able to make the team as a second string quarterback. I was still small, only about 130 pounds, but I knew a lot about blocking and tackling and throwing the ball, and by being extremely competitive, I got my letter. Then we moved on again, this time to Columbia, Missouri. There at Hickman High School, I got involved in just about everything. I wasn't what you call a gifted student, but I worked really hard and made the honor roll. I was president of the student body and active in a lot of clubs. I remember the speech club in particular, and I was voted most versatile. Boy, I was really a gym rat. I loved hanging around that gym playing basketball, but I did not go out for the team, maybe because I was only 5'9". When I was a senior, though, they drafted me for the team, and I became a guard, sometimes a starter. I was not a great shot, but I was a pretty good ball handler and a real good floor leader. I like running the team. I guess we went undefeated, and in one of my biggest thrills, won the state championship. My high school athletic experience was really unbelievable because I was also the quarterback on the football team, which went undefeated too and won the state championship as well. I didn't throw particularly well, but we were mostly a running team, and I was fairly slow for a back, but I was shifty, sometimes so shifty that I would fall down with a bunch of daylight in front of me. On defense, my favorite thing was when the coach would slip me in, let me play. I had a good sense for where the ball was going to go, and I really loved to hit. I guess I was just totally competitive as an athlete, and my main talent was probably the same as my best talent as a retailer. I was a good motivator. This is hard to believe, but it's true. In my whole life I've never played in a losing football game. I certainly can't take much of the credit for that, and in fact there was definitely some luck involved. I was sick or injured for a couple of games that we would not have won with or without me, so I dodged the bullet on a few losses that I could have played in, but I think that record had an important effect on me. It taught me to expect a win, to go into tough challenges, always planning to come out victorious. Later on in life, I think Kmart or whatever competition we were facing just became Jeff City High School, the team we played for the state championship in 1935. It never occurred to me that I might lose to me. It was almost as if I had a right to win. Thinking like that often seems to turn into sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Having been the quarterback for the Hickman Groupies, the undefeated